In the very center of the United States lies a land that millions of people know by name, yet few truly understand. A place where vast golden fields stretch beyond the horizon, where powerful storms shape the landscape, where history, conflict, and ambition helped build a nation. This is Kansas. Often called America's Heartland, Kansas is much more than endless prairies and small farming communities. Hidden beneath its quiet image is a story that reaches back thousands of years. A story of Native American civilizations, territorial struggles, economic transformation, and cultural resilience. Long before European explorers arrived, this land was home to indigenous peoples who lived across the Great Plains. They hunted buffalo, established trade routes, and developed cultures deeply connected to the land. Centuries later, Kansas would become the center of one of the most important political battles in American history. A conflict so intense that it earned the nickname Bleeding Kansas, becoming a precursor to the American Civil War. But Kansas did not stop there. The state emerged as an agricultural powerhouse, producing enormous quantities of wheat and helping feed millions of people across the country. Its cities became centers of innovation, particularly in aviation, earning Wichita the title of the Air Capital of the World. Today, Kansas stands as a symbol of both tradition and progress. It is a state shaped by its geography, influenced by its history, and driven by the determination of its people. From the rolling Flint Hills to the busy streets of Wichita, from Native American heritage to modern economic development. This is the complete story of Kansas, a story of survival, a story of growth, and a story that reflects the broader history of America itself. Before exploring the history of Kansas, we must first understand where its name comes from. The name Kansas originates from the Kansa people, also known as the Kaw Nation. For centuries, the Kansa tribe lived throughout the region that now forms much of the state. They were part of the larger Sawan language family and developed a way of life closely connected to the rivers and grasslands of the Great Plains. Historians believe the word Kansa roughly translates to people of the South Wind. The South Wind has long been a defining feature of the Great Plains, influencing weather patterns, agriculture, and daily life throughout the region. French explorers who entered the area during the 17th century encountered the Kansa people and recorded their name using French spellings. Over time, the word evolved into Kansas. When the Kansas Territory was officially established in 1854, the name was adopted by the U.S. government. Then, in 1861, when Kansas entered the Union as the 34th state, the name became permanently associated with the region. Today, although the state carries the name Kansas, its origins remain deeply connected to the indigenous people who lived on these lands long before the arrival of settlers and modern governments. The story of Kansas begins with them. And so does the story of the state itself. Before Kansas became an American state, this land had already witnessed thousands of years of human history. For generations, the Great Plains were home to numerous Native American tribes. Among them were the Kansa, Osage, Pawnee, Wichita, and Cheyenne peoples. These communities developed unique cultures and ways of life that were closely tied to the natural environment. The vast prairies of Kansas provided fertile hunting grounds. Massive herds of bison, often called buffalo, roamed across the plains, serving as a vital source of food, clothing, and shelter. For centuries, indigenous nations established trade networks that connected different regions of North America. Long before modern highways and railroads existed, these routes allowed people, goods, and ideas to move across the continent. Everything began to change during the 16th century. European explorers gradually expanded into the interior of North America. Although Spanish expeditions traveled through parts of the Great Plains, it was French explorers who would leave a lasting influence on the region. By the 17th and 18th centuries, France claimed vast areas of central North America as part of New France. Kansas became included within these territorial claims. However, European control over the region remained limited. Native American nations continued to dominate much of the landscape. The balance of power shifted dramatically in the early 19th century. In 1803, the United States completed one of the most important land acquisitions in its history, the Louisiana Purchase. With a single agreement, the United States acquired an enormous territory from France, effectively doubling the size of the nation. Much of present-day Kansas became part of this newly acquired land. As American settlers pushed westward, the region attracted increasing attention from the federal government. The construction of trails, such as the Santa Fe Trail, transformed Kansas into an important transportation corridor. Traders, migrants, and adventurers crossed the territory in search of opportunity and prosperity. Yet the greatest challenge was still ahead. During the mid-19th century, the United States became increasingly divided over the issue of slavery. Would new territories permit slavery, or would they enter the Union as free states? Kansas suddenly became the center of this national debate. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act created the Kansas Territory and allowed settlers to determine whether slavery would be legal through popular vote. What followed was a period of violence unlike anything the territory had experienced before. Pro-slavery and anti-slavery groups rushed into Kansas, hoping to influence the outcome. Tensions quickly escalated into armed conflict. Communities were attacked. Homes were burned. Political rivalries turned violent. The territory became so unstable that journalists began referring to it as Bleeding Kansas. The violence shocked the nation and exposed the growing divisions between North and South. Many historians consider Bleeding Kansas to be one of the key events that pushed the United States toward civil war. Among the individuals involved was abolitionist John Brown, whose actions in Kansas would later make him one of the most controversial figures in American history. As the conflict intensified across the nation, Kansas moved closer to statehood. Finally, on January 29, 1861, Kansas was admitted to the Union as the 34th state. Importantly, it entered as a free state. But the timing could not have been more dramatic. Only a few months later, the American Civil War officially began. Although major battles were fought elsewhere, Kansas played an important role in supporting the Union war effort. Following the war, the state entered a period of rapid growth. Railroads expanded across the region, connecting communities and encouraging migration. New towns emerged. Agriculture flourished. Immigrants arrived from Europe and other parts of the United States seeking land and economic opportunity. By the late 19th century, Kansas had transformed from a frontier territory into one of America's most important agricultural states. The foundations of modern Kansas had been established. A land once defined by conflict was now preparing for a future of growth and development. Located near the geographic center of the continental United States, Kansas covers more than 82,000 square miles. The state is bordered by Nebraska to the north, Missouri to the east, Oklahoma to the south, and Colorado to the west. Kansas is often associated with flat terrain, but its landscape is far more diverse than many people realize. Much of the state lies within the Great Plains, a vast region known for its grasslands and open horizons. Perhaps the most unique natural feature of Kansas is the Flint Hills. Stretching across eastern Kansas, this region contains one of the largest remaining areas of tall grass prairie in North America. Because the rocky soil made large-scale farming difficult, much of the original prairie survived, while similar ecosystems disappeared elsewhere. Kansas is also home to several important rivers. The Kansas River, from which the state takes its name, flows across northeastern Kansas before joining the Missouri River. The Arkansas River crosses the southern portion of the state and has historically played an important role in agriculture and transportation. Climate is another defining characteristic of Kansas. The state experiences hot summers, cold winters, and rapidly changing weather conditions. Its central location places it at the intersection of different air masses moving across North America. As a result, Kansas frequently experiences severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. In fact, the state lies within the region commonly known as Tornado Alley, one of the most active tornado zones in the world. These powerful storms have shaped both the landscape and the lives of Kansas residents for generations. Despite these challenges, the state's fertile soil and favorable conditions have helped make Kansas one of the most productive agricultural regions in the United States. The geography of Kansas is more than just a backdrop to its history. It is one of the primary forces that has shaped the state's economy, culture, and identity. The settlement of Kansas represents one of the most significant chapters in the story of the American West. Following the Louisiana Purchase and the establishment of the Kansas Territory, thousands of settlers began arriving in search of land and opportunity. Many traveled along famous routes such as the Oregon Trail, the California Trail, and the Santa Fe Trail. These trails crossed parts of Kansas and transformed the region into a gateway to the western frontier. Life for early settlers was far from easy. The open plains offered opportunity, but they also presented enormous challenges. Harsh winters, extreme summers, droughts, and unpredictable storms tested the determination of those who chose to make Kansas their home. One of the most important developments came with the passage of the Homestead Act in 1862. His federal law allowed settlers to claim land if they agreed to live on it and improve it. As a result, thousands of families moved into Kansas during the late 19th century. Railroads played a crucial role in this expansion. New railway lines connected Kansas to major cities and markets across the country. Farmers could now transport crops more efficiently, encouraging further settlement and economic growth. Entire communities emerged alongside railroad routes. Small frontier settlements gradually evolved into towns and cities. By the end of the 19th century, Kansas had become one of the fastest-growing agricultural regions in the United States. The settlement era not only transformed the landscape, but also established the foundations of modern Kansas society. Today, Kansas is home to nearly 3 million people. While it may not be among the most populous states in America, its population reflects a rich mix of cultures, traditions, and communities. The largest city in Kansas is Wichita, a major economic and industrial center. Other important cities include Overland Park, Kansas City, Topeka, and Lawrence. Like many states in the Great Plains region, Kansas has experienced significant urban growth over the past century. While rural communities remain important, a growing percentage of the population now lives in metropolitan areas. The state's demographic makeup has also evolved over time. European immigrants played a major role in shaping early Kansas society, particularly settlers of German, Irish, English, and Scandinavian descent. In recent decades, Hispanic and Latino communities have become an increasingly important part of the state's cultural and economic landscape. Kansas is also home to Native American communities whose roots in the region stretch back centuries. Religious life remains an important aspect of Kansas culture. Christianity is the largest faith tradition, though many other religious communities are represented throughout the state. Despite changes in population and demographics, Kansas continues to maintain a strong sense of community and local identity. From rural farming towns to expanding urban centers, the people of Kansas remain at the heart of the state's story. The economy of Kansas has long been shaped by the land itself. For generations, agriculture has served as the backbone of the state's economic success. Kansas is often called the wheat state because it ranks among the leading wheat producers in the United States. Every year, millions of acres of farmland are dedicated to wheat cultivation. The state's fertile soil and favorable climate have made it one of the most productive agricultural regions in North America. But wheat is only part of the story. Kansas farmers also produce corn, soybeans, sorghum, and other important crops. Livestock plays an equally important role. Large cattle ranches and feedlots contribute billions of dollars to the state's economy each year. As agriculture expanded, other industries began to emerge. One of the most important is aviation. The city of Wichita became a global center for aircraft manufacturing during the 20th century. Major aerospace companies established operations there, earning Wichita the nickname, the air capital of the world. Thousands of workers helped design and build aircraft that would be used around the globe. Manufacturing continues to be a major contributor to the state's economy today. Kansas also plays a growing role in energy production. The state's vast open landscapes make it ideal for wind energy development. In recent years, large wind farms have become an increasingly common sight across the Kansas countryside. These renewable energy projects help provide electricity to millions of people while supporting economic growth. Finance, healthcare, technology, and education have also become important sectors of the modern economy. Together, these industries create a diverse economic foundation that extends far beyond agriculture alone. Kansas remains a state where tradition and innovation work side by side. Transportation has played a crucial role in the development of Kansas since the earliest days of settlement. Because of its central location, Kansas serves as an important transportation hub within the United States. A network of interstate highways connects the state to major markets across the country. Interstate 70, one of America's most significant east-west highways, crosses Kansas from border to border. Railroads continue to play a major role in freight transportation. Millions of tons of agricultural products and manufactured goods move through Kansas every year. Air transportation is equally important. Major airports connect Kansas cities with destinations across the nation. Wichita's aviation industry further strengthens the state's transportation infrastructure. The ability to move people and goods efficiently has helped Kansas maintain its position as a key economic crossroads in North America. Like every American state, Kansas operates under its own constitution and system of government. The state capital is Topeka, where government officials oversee public policy and administration. Kansas government is divided into 3 branches. The executive branch is led by the governor. The legislative branch is responsible for creating state laws. The judicial branch interprets those laws and ensures that justice is carried out according to the Constitution. Throughout its history, Kansas has played an influential role in American politics. The state's political identity has often reflected broader national debates about economic policy, social issues, and government responsibility. From the era of Bleeding Kansas to modern elections, politics has remained an important part of the state's development. Kansas continues to participate actively in shaping both state and national policy. Visuals, schools, university campuses, classrooms, students studying. Education has always played a central role in the development of Kansas. From the earliest days of settlement, communities recognized that education would be essential for future growth and prosperity. Today, Kansas maintains an extensive public education system that serves students across both urban and rural areas. Thousands of schools operate throughout the state, providing educational opportunities for children from diverse backgrounds. Higher education is equally important. Kansas is home to several respected universities and research institutions. Among the most well-known is the University of Kansas, located in Lawrence. Founded in the 19th century, the university has become a major center for research, science, medicine, and athletics. Another prominent institution is Kansas State University in Manhattan. The university has earned a strong reputation in agriculture, engineering, and scientific research. These institutions help prepare future generations while contributing to innovation and economic development. Education continues to be one of the most important investments in the future of Kansas. The culture of Kansas reflects the diverse influences that have shaped the state throughout its history. Native American traditions remain an important part of Kansas heritage. Many communities continue to celebrate Indigenous history through cultural events, educational programs, and preservation efforts. The state's frontier past has also left a lasting impact. Historic towns, museums, and landmarks preserve stories of pioneers, settlers, and the development of the American West. Music has long been a part of life in Kansas. The state has contributed to various genres, including country, folk, blues, and jazz. Local festivals and community celebrations continue to showcase artistic talent from across the region. Kansas is also known for its agricultural traditions, which influence local cuisine. Barbecue, steak, wheat-based foods, and classic Midwestern dishes remain popular throughout the state. Tourism plays an important role in preserving and sharing Kansas culture. Visitors can explore the Flint Hills, historic trails, museums, and natural attractions that highlight the state's unique identity. Although Kansas is often viewed as a quiet rural state, its culture tells a story of resilience, diversity, and community spirit. Sports occupy a special place in the lives of many Kansans. Across the state, athletic competition serves as both entertainment and a source of community pride. College basketball is particularly popular. The University of Kansas has built one of the most successful basketball programs in American history. Its teams have won national championships and produced numerous professional athletes. Kansas State University also maintains a strong athletic tradition, attracting passionate support from fans across the state. Football, baseball, soccer, and track and field are widely played at both amateur and professional levels. High school sports remain especially important in many communities. Friday night football games and local tournaments often bring entire towns together. Sports continue to strengthen community bonds while contributing to the cultural identity of Kansas. Kansas is often described as the heart of America, yet its story is far more complex than that simple description suggests. For thousands of years, this land was home to Native American nations who developed rich cultures and thriving communities across the Great Plains. It witnessed exploration, settlement, conflict, and transformation. Kansas became the center of national debates that helped shape the future of the United States. It endured hardship during periods of violence and uncertainty. Yet time and again, the people of Kansas adapted, rebuilt, and moved forward. The state's fertile fields helped feed a growing nation. Its industries contributed to technological innovation and economic progress. Its universities educated future generations. Its communities preserved traditions while embracing change. Today, Kansas stands as a place where history and modern life exist side by side, from the rolling Flint Hills to the bustling streets of Wichita. From the legacy of Native American peoples to the achievements of modern industries, Kansas continues to tell a story that is uniquely American, a story of perseverance, a story of opportunity, and a story that reminds us how a single state can help shape the destiny of an entire nation. This is Kansas, the heartland of America, and its story is still being written.